When Jamie Smith toe-ended a loopy ball from Mitchell Santner to long on, it concluded so much more than just Bazball's 7th loss in their last 10 games. That stroke brought down the curtain on the career of one of England's all-time greats.
Mitchell takes the catch at mid-wicket and Ben Stokes has to go. What a warrior Ben Stokes has been for English cricket.
Ben Stokes' story has always been defined by moments and individual brilliance in the face of adversity, but had his career end in the most unspectacular of fashions, with Stokes watching helplessly from the balcony. But maybe that says it all. The captain of Bazball has gone down, and now it's time for the ship to follow. Before Bazball, England were absolutely abysmal, with just one win in their previous 17 games, and while 2 wins in their last 10 isn't quite as bad, their situation this time might almost be worse. You see, when England revolutionised in 2022, everyone accepted and bought into the fact that they needed massive change to right the ship and to become competitive again. But right now, they're stuck moving forward with a failing system, not sure whether to double down or change, and to me, that's worse given their failures over the last couple of years.
Fitting way to end this series. It is a famous victory for Tom Latham and his men.
Bazball dies where it was born, where it began.
With that collapse, or Bazball, or whatever we're calling that brain fade on day 4 of the 3rd test that basically handed New Zealand victory,
Gone. It's falling apart for England. Now the wickets for Folkes, first Stokes, then Bethell, and now Brook.
England's win percentage since 2025 dropped to 33%, basically half of Bazball's win percentage before 2025. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, and what we'll discuss in this video is going to prove that. The elephant in the room, the first person to talk about, has to be Ben Stokes. Stokes was the best captain England have had in a very long time, and to me, one of their best ever to carry the responsibility.
Not many people can push themselves to the extreme.
He's the hardest trainer out of anyone I've ever played with.
When it gets hard, you don't have to turn to him. He comes to you.
He was also arguably their best bowler since taking over the captaincy, and obviously an excellent batter, going so far as to describe himself as a batter who bowls.
And takes the wicket. Ben Stokes taps him in the drive. Australia lose their 6th.
And more than that, the team balance and selection freedom those skills offered England are something they're going to sorely miss. Simply beginning with his captaincy record and even factoring in their recent failures, he's still the 2nd winningest captain in English history, and even though he didn't bring back the urn in 2025, he was still a fine leader who led the revival of English cricket in very dark days.
Yes! Ben Stokes is the hero of the land. Not the greatest Test match innings ever played, has just seen England to victory.
Replacing that leadership is almost impossible, especially when the incumbent captain played the way he did, just such a poor innings from Harry Brook, and probably with the direction in all likelihood coming from McCullum to play that way, and I just don't think the two of them together can be successful. The other options are Root and Bethell, who themselves are probably each too old and too young for the role, although England didn't trust Brook to fill in as captain for the test that Stokes missed, something they were comfortable with Ollie Pope doing, and that might indicate more clearly than anything where they stand with the idea of him being the next test captain, even if he does have the endorsement and support of Ben Stokes to take the mantle. Despite how great a captain he was, Stokes was still most valuable to England as a player, and in the Bazball era in particular as their best fast bowler.
For Ben Stokes for the first time in Test cricket for 8 years.
Altogether, he finishes as their 2nd leading wicket taker in this era by taking 70 wickets and finishing just 1 behind Gus Atkinson, who heads the pack. The amazing story of Stokes' bowling is that he kept getting better with age, and despite the injuries and captaincy workload, he took it upon himself to be a better bowler, and his numbers over this period tell you that, but he was always so much more than the numbers anyway. When England needed a breakthrough or someone to bowl a mammoth spell and pull them back, Stokes did it himself. What better example is there than his last ever test match with that 11-over spell?
It's a different cry from Ben Stokes in England. Stokes makes the breakthrough.
Or his 5 in the first Ashes test in Australia to bring England back into that game. And even if Stokes wasn't quite the prolific batsman that he once was before Bazball, he sacrificed a lot of those statistics to lead the way and pave his path for players to follow, and he still ended up as their 6th leading run scorer in the period. As the only man alongside Jacques Kallis with over 250 test match wickets and 7,000 test match runs, it's fair to say Ben Stokes was an icon of the sport, a true all-rounder, capable of being picked solely for either discipline, and his match-winning abilities with both bat and ball are going to be irreplaceable. England may look to the services of Sam Curran to do so as the most like-for-like replacement of Stokes, or try and develop Ryan Ahmed as their next great all-rounder. But even with Curran's depth of international experience or Ryan Ahmed's ceiling with both bat and ball, truth be told, England are unlikely to ever find someone nearly as good as Stokes was ever again. He's a once-in-a-lifetime caliber of player. Really, it leaves England without one of their main strike bowlers, a key middle-order batsman, and that's going to throw off their entire balance of the side. If they choose to do what they did in the second test match against New Zealand when Stokes wasn't playing and have an extra batter, they'll look short a reliable fifth bowling option. Alternatively, if they choose to play a bowler who bats a bit, they'll put even more pressure on their already fragile batting lineup. Or if they choose to roll the dice with an all-rounder like the one they currently have in their squad in Ryan Ahmed, there's no guarantee he does the job with either discipline, and it's just a waste of a genuine option. No Ben Stokes just guarantees a weaker, less well-balanced English side any which way you look at it, because he's as good as any specialist in his role, and then he has an additional skill, and he's better than any all-rounder, and that's the reality of his retirement.
This is my last 2 days as your captain, and my last 2 days as representing England.
Often you'll hear the phrase, you only fully appreciate how brilliant someone was when they're not around anymore. And while I think England and the cricketing world really respected and valued Stokes, they'll only truly realise the weight of his impact on English cricket once he as a captain, batter and bowler is no longer there.
Mitchell takes the catch at mid-wicket and Ben Stokes has to go. What a warrior Ben Stokes has been for English cricket.
And look, there's probably a combination of reasons Stokes is no longer around and has decided to retire, but one of those has to be the difference in direction he wanted to take the side going forward compared to McCullum. Again with that chase, I think we saw that Bazball isn't the answer. With the series squared and everything to play for, they needed 370 odd to win, and they went out there and pissed it away with some weak spineless cricket in the name of Bazball, and to me, that's not good enough anymore. It just can't be.
A fitting way to end this series.
Daryl Mitchell grafted and got hit endlessly to bring up that magnificent century and post a big target for England.
Courageous 100 from Daryl Mitchell.
And instead of digging their heels in and playing in a similar fashion, which was clearly necessary to be successful on that tougher pitch, Bazball just wilted away again. The kind of cricket they played in that chase, it was clearly a directive from the coaching staff, McCullum probably, and it was just terrible to watch for fans and ex-players alike, because it just looked so anti-Ben Stokes, who used to epitomise grit and fight in his batting. It just wastes the talent and potential of some of the amazing batters they possess playing in that manner. So if that's the direction England are going to continue with, the reckless abandon in spite of what the conditions and situational demands are, something had to give, and this not being the direction Stokes may have wanted to continue along, he chose to move on instead. Look, England aren't currently at rock bottom, but they're well on their way there. Bazball has been totally debunked. It doesn't work on pitches that aren't flat tracks, and it doesn't work against the best sides in the world. One of their greatest players has just retired, leaving massive holes in the captaincy, bowling and batting departments, and they've failed to win a test match series since 2024 now, and I think it's fair to say they're a side in the midst of a downfall. If they choose to continue down their current path and keep McCullum and Bazball in place and make Harry Brook captain, I think we're going to see another sustained English cricket slump like we did during the last years of Root's captaincy, and it's a shame because player for player, they're miles better than that side. They've got genuine fast bowlers in Archer, Tongue, Atkinson, Cass and Robinson, and they've got some proper batters in Root, Brook and Duckett, and the very promising Jacob Bethel and Jamie Smith. But if they continue to waste the talent they have on hand at the moment because they refuse to accept the mistake that is Bazball, that would be a serious letdown. What I'm saying is, given their current struggles with Bazball, now combined with the gaps created by Stokes' retirement, we could see England slump and hit rock bottom again in the not too distant future. If they fess up though, gut Bazball and replace the current management and pair Harry Brook with an Andy Flower or Justin Langer and really get this group playing to their potential or just not shooting themselves in the foot, they could genuinely come through this tough spot and find themselves a better team. And who knows, if Ben Stokes walks back into the side for the 2027 Ashes after rediscovering his love for cricket, perhaps England finally beat Australia and retake the urn. But along their current trajectory, we could be witnessing yet another downfall of English cricket.